Hello friends, welcome to demo. And hello friends, welcome to demo. Woohoo! If you guys want to move closer, you're welcome to. All right. So today we are making spaghetti and meatballs card. I am so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I have been wanting to make this card ever since I came up with this idea that was in December, January. I was like, we are going to be making a spaghetti and meatballs card. It's going to be so cute. And so now I finally get to make it. Yes. All right. So we are going to be working on this paper, this kind of a speckled paper, because it's just kind of fun. And we're going to start out, because it is a card, we're just going to go ahead and score that at 5.5 inches. So we have our little standard card. Now, when I'm doing a card and I want it to stand up, I like to do this because then you don't have to worry about it flopping over, where sometimes when you do this, over time it collapses. So this is a nice way to go. So that's what we're going to be using as our card base. And then, yes, my little yarns and twines over here to be the spaghetti part. It's going to be so cute. I'm going to lay this down here so we have a little bit more contrast. You guys can actually see what I'm doing. Okay, so we have the shop die cut machine here, and it cuts out, one of the shapes is this small little oval, because this is going to be the plate. It's so cute. So what I wanted to do was find some gray papers to cut out my plate. And so I have, of course, a plate, if you want your plate to be silver, or if you just want a gray, or if you want it kind of more of a mottled color. So keeping in mind that this would be the background, you can kind of decide whatever color you love the most. Today I have decided I'm going to use the traditional gray, because I think that works great. And I'm just going to go ahead and take a moment and trace this on here, and then we're going to cut that out. Right. Or if you are doing this and you're like, I don't really feel very confident in cutting out a perfect little oval like that, we could of course bring the paper over to the die cut machine. You guys can cut out your little plate over there, and that would be totally fine. I feel pretty confident with fussy cutting my little oval here, but I know not everyone feels as confident, and that is okay. All right, so once I have my little oval done here, I want to make it look more plate-esque, because at the moment it's just gray. So in order to do that, I am using a fine line pen and kind of creating this ridge right inside the edge of my plate here. And I don't know if you know this, but I usually do a double, because obviously there's a little lip on the plate before the top of it comes off. So that is why I do kind of a little bit of a double there, but it makes it look a little bit more like a little plate. I know it's very faint and very hard to see, but when we get it all together, you will understand why I'm doing this. Okay, so now I wanted to have a cute little base, like a little placemat. And so I have just this piece of brown paper and this sheer ribbon. We were just talking about vellum, right? Okay, do you have a piece of vellum? Oh, would you mind handing me one of those? Oh my gosh, it's okay, it's okay. It's all right, it's all right. No worries. This was not your plan to grab this for me. So I wanted to show you this because sometimes I need something to be toned down, because right now the gray on there just kind of looks, I don't know, blah. So you can change it up. Now the vellum takes too much away from that. And so that is where this amazing ribbon comes into play. It works like vellum because it covers it up and tones it down, but it actually adds something to it because it's kind of shimmery. And so it just brings that to life, and it's quite fun. So in order to adhere this on here, you need to use double-sided tape. So we'll flip that over. I'm going to put double-sided tape on the back side. I'm just going to do it on all 4 sides. And we're going to stick our wide ribbon on one side, wrap it around to the front. I'm not adhering it to the front, I'm just wrapping it and sticking it onto the tape on the back side. The double-sided tape is a great way to hold the ribbon in place, and it's a dry adhesive and it sticks right away. When we tend to put ribbon, we adhere it with glue. It does not work because you're sitting there and trying to hold it and you're like, why won't you just stick? Double-sided tape accomplishes the task immediately and you don't have to worry about it. I'm going to go ahead and take a moment and just trim off any excess ribbon that's sticking out, because that's driving me crazy just from the back side. I don't care about the front. Just don't want that to be shown. Okay, so now I'm going to put double-sided tape there just to make sure that that area is sticky. So I'm going to put some on the sides there, and then we're going to mount it on the front of the card in the middle. I'll put this here. And then we have my little plate. Okay, so now I have silverware. I found a public domain image of these cute little silverware. They are adorable. So I have the sheets for sale for 50 cents. So in case you're like, I need silverware in my life. Seriously, so cute. What if you did like a little, you did an alphabet soup card, or you did other types of chicken noodle soup, where you're like, get well soon, and you can use this. Or you could say, see you soup. And then you could have a little spoon and a little soup. So there's lots of little things you can do. But I really like the knife and fork. You are super! Oh my gosh, that is so cute. So I'm going to use this decorative little knife Now, if you are someone who eats spaghetti with a spoon, I am not, but that's okay. If you are, you could also incorporate the spoon at this time, and that would also work. So I have my little knife, and for the purposes of my spaghetti and meatballs card, I'm just going to do my little fork. It's just so cute. I love how fancy the silverware is. It makes me very happy. When I discovered it was a public domain, I was like, oh, that was meant to be. Meant to be. I'm going to end up with all of these little spoons in my life, I'm sure. And then for the fork part, now it's not necessary, but I like to cut the little spikes here so that there is space between each of the little prongs of my fork. It's so small, but it is so cute. I'm just going to trim that off because what if I want to wrap my spaghetti noodles around my fork? I don't know. I haven't decided yet. It's going to be so cute either way. Okay, and then I have this paper that has a little bit of a texture that kind of looks like a napkin. If you have an actual napkin in your life, that would be even cuter because we could cut it up and it would be adorable. Oh my gosh, so cute. So because I want to make it look like a fancy, I mean, you could of course fold it normally, but I think it would be less obvious it's a napkin. So I'm going to folding it kind of off center like that. And I'm going to tuck it under my plate. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm just so thrilled with this card. Okay, and then, that's not quite yet. All right, so now I need to make the meatballs card. Now, when I showed these to Taylor, Taylor was like, those look like pepperoni. I was like, no, 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 this is a spaghetti meatballs card, Taylor. But if you are feeling that it might be a little pepperoni-esque,
I see.
I think it'll be okay when you pair it with the noodles. I think it'll be all right. Okay, so I have my 2 pepperonis. At the moment, 2 pepperonis. They're supposed to be meatballs. To make them meatball-y, I crinkle them up.
Oh yeah.
To give them texture.
Smart.
Right? That's what I was thinking. And actually, one of them ripped a little bit, and I actually did that on purpose, because then you can make it look like the fork is stabbing the meatball. Ah! Okay. And I'm going to cut out one more for the inside of the card, because of course I have to do something on the inside, because it'll be so cute. So I'm going to do one more for the inside. I'm just going to crinkle that up right now. Okay. All right, so now we have our 3 little meatballs. And then, this size. And one of these is going to be this one. So, can't have spaghetti and meatballs without
Parmesan.
I was thinking garlic bread, but
Garlic
Parmesan
bread,
would be so cute too. I didn't even think about Parmesan. We'll have to make that work. We'll figure it out. But I'm going to do garlic bread. But I do love the idea of Parmesan. I think you could cut these into little pieces for Parmesan. Oh my gosh, how cute. How would I do Parmesan?
Or even
You
your
sprinkle.
white pen.
Oh, a little white pen? That's a great idea.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
I love that. Okay, so what I'm going to do here for my garlic bread is I'm going to cut, this is suede paper so it's fuzzy for the crust, and I'm going to cut the inside piece here. Okay, so in order to do this, what I do is I'm actually going to take my circle here. I know this is just crazy that I'm doing this. I probably should have figured out a different way to do it, but this is how I'm doing it. I'm going to just put that in there partially and trim that out, and now we have something that kind of looks like crust, and it's okay that it doesn't match it perfectly. I'm totally okay with that. Sometimes that's the way the bread is. Maybe it's the end piece. Maybe it's the piece right inside the heel. I don't know. Taylor loves the heel part of the bread, which is my least favorite part, so it actually works out perfectly for us. And I'm like, oh, that's wonderful, because I love the inside middle piece that's extra squishy. That's my preferred piece.
Same in our
Heel
family.
because it was toasted, it was crunchy.
So now I'm rounding the edges because, you know, bread is not sharp, perfectly half circle. And then I'm going to just add a couple like little variations here just to make it look not so perfect, right? Because, you know, bread is not perfect. And let's think about this. When we go to cut our French bread, we're usually smushing it down as we're trying to slice it. Okay, so there's my little bread, and we're going to come back to him in just a little bit. All right, so now it's the noodles part. So I made one variation of this card already with the large noodles, and then I'm going to do the one for you guys. I'm going to make the smaller noodles. That way you can decide, you can look at the 2 options and decide which is your favorite. Now, if you're going to do the small noodles, you're going to need 2 yards. If you're going to do the large noodles, you only need 1 yard. Okay, so this is how we're going to do our spaghetti. This is just so much fun. I should just love it. Now, if you're doing this and you're like, those meatballs are too big for that fork, that's okay that you thought that. There's also a tiny circle punch in case you need your meatballs to be smaller, and that's fine. So I'm going to put double-sided tape. I'm just going to do a couple strips in the middle of my plate, and then I'm going to take my spaghetti, and just smoosh it down and just cover up anywhere that there might be any double-sided tape. Okay, so I'm gonna add one more little piece here, and I'm gonna put some double-sided tape on the back side of my 2 meatballs because they are meatballs now. They're no longer pepperonis, and I'm just gonna tuck those right in there. Oh, that's what I was gonna grab. Hey Taylor, can you bring me some pop dots, please? Pop dots, the little foam dots. That's what I was gonna use because to give them some dimension. So while he's doing that, I'm going to add in one more piece of double-sided tape here, just to gather my little spaghetti bits. There we are.
I passed these this
Oh,
week.
would you mind handing this to me? Thank you so much. Perfect. All right, and we'll put a little pop dot on the backside of our little I almost said it again. Backside of our meatballs. They're meatballs. Not pepperoni. Oh, Taylor. Put pepperoni in my brain. All right, and then we're going to put those here. And I kind of like it that the noodles are kind of going on top of it just a little bit. And now on this one, like I said, I kind of ripped this. I did that a little bit on purpose there. So I'm thinking about where my fork is going to go at this point. And I might protect my little... There we are. So it makes it look like they're covered up. Yes, yes. You can't see the foam. I want to offset those just a little bit so it's a little bit more obvious. Okay, so now I have my plate. I'm super thrilled. I'm going to put double-sided tape on the back side of that, and we're going to stick it on our little placemat. And I'm giving myself space on the side to put my napkin and, of course, my silverware. I'm going to go ahead and tape my napkin together and stick that down right there, tucked under the plate. And then here on our little knife, where is my, there it is, mounting tape. So I'm cutting 2 very, very thin little strips of mounting tape, and this is going to be for the knife and the fork, because of course I have to add just a tiny bit of dimension to the knife and the fork. So I'm going to put this on the back side of the knife, and we'll lay that down, and then this will be on the back side of the fork. Okay, now I'm going to stab my fork into my noodles. Can I twist it? Let's see what happens. Kind of. All right. No, it did not work the way I was hoping. That's okay. If I had planned ahead of time, that would have been great. And I got to find the ripped area here for my fork to stab into my meatball. And come on, little prongs. There we are. Yes. There we go. Okay, so now my favorite part, the garlic bread. All right. So this pen here, it's called the Karen marker, moves with water. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to color a little square of butter on the garlic bread. And then this pen has shimmer in it. And then when you put it on the marker, it actually moves that butter around. And then you can...
You're spreading the butter.
Butter? Your bread! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh, I love it! I love it! I love it! I can hardly contain the excitement. And it's shimmery, so it actually picks up like the sunlight a little bit and kind of looks kind of buttery.
Oh, it sure did.
I know! I'm so thrilled! Okay, so now of course I have to put another little pop dot to give it some dimension. I'm going to stick my bread on the side of my plate here, so I'm going to put my little pop dot on. Come on, little guy. And then, I don't know about you guys, but I always like my bread to be a little bit more seasoned. I don't know about you. And so this tiny, tiny, tiny little fine line pen is going to be the little seasoning little dots, because it just makes it look more like actual bread. I know it's super, super hard to see, but it is so stinking cute. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I love it. I love it. I love it. Ah! Okay. So now on the inside of the card. Oops. Sorry, I just noticed my little fork here is coming apart. Hold on, fork. Stay there. It is so much fun. Like I said, I had so much fun making this design. I was like, oh my gosh. Yesterday I was like, yes, I can finally make the spaghetti and meatballs card. I've been waiting. Okay.
Darn holidays anyway.
I know. I'm like, okay. Valentine's Day is over. Let's make spaghetti and meatballs card. Okay, so now for the inside of the card, I'm going to replicate, right, because I still have one meatball left. So I'm going to get just out a little bit more spaghetti here. Angel hair! Oh, yes, it would be angel hair pasta. Oh, that's perfect. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take 2 fingers and I'm actually going to wrap it like this. And then I'm going to stick that on my double-sided tape straight here inside. and I know it's going to be just a little wild, and I actually want it to be a little wild. And then I'm going to take my meatball, and I'm going to tuck it into my little spaghetti noodles to make it look like it's kind of wrapped around my spaghetti. Okay. I might need to trim that a little bit. Okay, so now, oh come on, stay. I did put egg in that, that's why. All right, okay, so now the sentiment for the inside of the card. Can you guess what the sentiment is going to be? I was like, what is the sentiment going to be? And then in the middle of the night, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So it is, happy birthday, have a ball. I thought that would be perfect. I thought it would be perfect because it's a meatball. So for this here, I'm going to make just like a little chevron. So in order to do this, I'm going to go from the corner to the center and from the corner to the center. And then that way I have my little sentiment, which will go right inside. I picked the brown to kind of pair with the brown that's on the placemat on the front of the card. And there we have our spaghetti and meatballs card. Happy birthday, have a ball. All right, isn't it adorable? Oh my gosh, I love it so much. All right, so this is the first one I made, which is just with the larger spaghetti, so you can see the larger spaghetti noodles. And this one I forgot to put a sentiment in, but you can at least see it. So there we have it. So 2 different variations of your spaghetti and meatballs card. Thanks for joining me for demo, friends. Hope you guys had fun. And if you guys want to stay and make the card, it's just $5, and then the station will be set up for a full week for anyone that wants to make the craft. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you guys later.